Hello and welcome to the Fishing Guide Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Wiegmann. I tell you what, I think there was technical difficulties because the music started before I could even get to it. But I tell you what, one of the places I have visited and quite often, and one of my favorite places in the whole world, if I could move somewhere, I would move there, Alabama. So we had to have Joel and Dan. They're both from Alabama Tourism and work with tourism in Alabama. So we're going to find out more. We're going to find about fishing, housing, places anglers can eat, because, man, when you go fishing, when you get done, you're hungry. So we got to have that. So give us the insight. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
I'm Joel Lamp with the Huntsville, Madison County Convention Visitors Bureau, and my job's to bring sporting events to Huntsville. So we're here at Red Crest and excited to kind of welcome everybody in 2025 to Huntsville.
That's right. That was the big announcement.
Big announcement this week. So we're excited to bring everybody up to North Alabama.
Right.
We're centrally located, kind of in the mecca of bass fishing, if you will.
Absolutely.
You've got Wheeler Lake, which is in Don's territory. You've got Gunnersville, which is just south of it, or south and east of us.
Right.
You got Pickwick. You got Wilson. You've got a lot of great fishing in the area, and you can stay in Huntsville and go hit all of those at the same time.
Right, and Red Crest is, where are they going to weigh their fish in? They don't really weigh their fish, but where are they going to
They're going to go fishing out of Gunnersville.
Out of Gunnersville? All right. Don, tell them who you are and who you're with.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you, Brad. Don Dukemineer with Decatur, Morgan County Tourism. Also president of our state group, Sports Alabama. So, as you know, I wear multiple hats.
That's right.
From when I met you all so long ago, but represent Decatur, Morgan County, Wheeler Lake in particular. So we're here supporting our friends from Huntsville this week with 2025 with it coming to Huntsville, but also 2024 coming to Birmingham as well, too, and Lay Lake. So Alabama's a pretty good spot for fishing. So we like to invite visitors to come in and experience.
It's a great place to visit. I know that I'd gone down there and took a bunch of pictures of anglers, and they're catching everything. I mean, you guys got everything from crappie to catfish to, you name it, you got it. Bass, smallmouth.
The only thing we're missing is like a whale or something at this point.
Have you seen some of the catfish that come out of your reservoirs?
I have.
Just about a whale.
I've seen a few of them, and I'm like, that's in our water. I'm almost afraid to go stick my foot in the water now. It's like looking like a shark, like catfish. It's amazing the size of some of the fish that you can get.
Let's talk about some of the places like parks where they can go to, and besides the parks, also talk about if there's a fee to get in.
Okay. I'll let you take that. I'll let you start.
Yeah. So Alabama is rich in having our lakes, but also with our state parks too.
Right.
For 2025, they'll be fishing in Lake Gunnersville, and I think a lot of people are familiar with going over to the state park because that's where a lot of tournaments have taken place so far in the last couple of years. But now with the hard dock area, the restaurants that are right smack dab in the middle of downtown Gunnersville,
right, you
can launch, you can weigh, and you can do a lot of stuff. So you've got a great lake on Gunnersville. You got a great lake in Wheeler. You can go up just a little bit more into Wilson and Pickwick and Florence. But the great thing is there's a lot of campgrounds. Okay. All the state parks have cabins available. Nominal fee. Most of the time they're under $100, to rent and everything. But we've got a lot of great hotels too. If we wouldn't be doing our jobs if we weren't selling hotels and tourism, so we'll throw that in the mix as well.
No, that's all right.
Well, and that's the thing is, so we've got Ditto Landing in Huntsville,
right,
which is it's centrally located. In the middle, hey, you want to get in the lake here or get in the water, you can go up to Gunnersville relatively quickly. You can get to Wheeler relatively quickly. So it's kind of, we like to call it, you can get the best of both worlds. You can stay in Huntsville at Ditto. We've got a campground. We just added another 25 RV spots there.
Really?
They're full hookups. You can get a full hookup for $40-$50 a day.
Wow.
So it's a really good spot. They've done the team at Ditto Landing's done a really good job of renovating their RV and recreation tourism.
Does it have a bicycle path or walking path at Ditto?
So we've got a massive greenway that is getting continually added to over the next few years. When it's all said and done, it'll be about 30 miles, and will connect you from the river all the way into downtown Huntsville.
All right. So sometimes people get confused when you start talking about Decatur and they're like Lake Pickwick and Lake Wilson and Wheeler. What? Explain to them what the deal is. How does the lock system? How does that work?
So you don't see a lot of the dams and the lock-throughs until you get to certain parts of the lake. You've got Tennessee River that runs all the way from one side of Alabama all the way to the other. So if you start all the way in the western side with Florence, you're on Pickwick. And as you work down, you kind of get into Wilson. There is a dam system right there in Florence. Coming through, you get into Wheeler once you get into the Decatur area. And as Joel mentioned, around the Ditto Landing area, kind of like a hidden gem, kind of a hidden spot that not a lot of people know about. You have to lock through the dam to get into Guntersville. So you can stay all on the same channel, go up and down, for miles and miles from one end of the state to the other in the northern part. And you can get a lot of different banks, a lot of different creeks. You can get a lot in the tree lines and find a lot of good fishing spots. And that's what we're well known for is, you can be in the channel, but that's not where a lot of the good fish is caught. You're getting in the back channels and things like that. You're talking about catfish earlier. We had a catfish tournament in Decatur a couple weeks ago, and one of the teams caught a 90-pound catfish.
Holy cow.
And it's about as big as me. Wow. So, you kind of look at those things and you're like, I don't know if I want to stick my foot in the water with that right there. You don't know what's mystery. But I think that's sort of when you come to Alabama, that's the secret and surprise that everybody finds out is you can do some really good bass fishing. You can go down to Weiss Lake and do some crappie fishing. But you also can find really good cat fishing as well, too.
Crappie capital of the world
Absolutely.
is Weiss Lake. Down there, heck, if you go down there, make sure you check out Lee Pitts is down there, around in that area. Make sure you check him out. He's one of my buds, so I throw that out there.
Yeah, he's a good guy down in that area.
So I always talk about, like the area I'm from isn't the same as Guntersville, isn't the same as Alabama. When you, it's like you drive across the state line, and all of a sudden someone says, "You're an angler, you're our best friend." And I mean, how have you changed it? How has it become so angler friendly? I always tell people like, this is angler friendly. You go in there, it just seems like if you're an angler, you're sitting down to eat, and everything's good. Like you see people around there, they're smiling, and the hotels have better parking so that they can have their trucks and their boats connected. You don't have to unhook them and put them somewhere. And it just seems like you've done it. How have you cultured that?
I think part of it is just it's built into the DNA of the region.
Right.
Both of us have grown up in the area. Fishing's a way of life. So when people are coming in from out of town, it's certain, Orlando's a golf destination. Okay?
Right.
They know how to handle golf stuff.
Right.
We're a fishing destination. If you're coming to look to go fishing, our hotels, our hospitality community, we're built to be able to handle anything from a fishing standpoint. And I think the other piece that kind of goes along with it is there's been an intentional idea with the state park system to encourage more outdoors activities and encourage fishing. Guntersville has been a great representative of that through the system. What we see in Decatur with Wheeler Lake, what you see at Pickwick at the dam, up in Florence, I think there's been an intentionality to it to make sure that everybody that comes is having a good experience.
I think the secret to our success, and we've talked a lot about this from the state level, is we go to a lot of these shows, and people know the names of the lake. They know Guntersville. You can't go anywhere without somebody talking about Guntersville Lake. And they ask questions because they've heard stories or they know other people who have come down and fished it.
Right.
And until they actually get there and experience it firsthand, then they can go back and really say, okay, hey, I know what they were talking about. I had a really bad day on the lake. I got so many bites but lost them. Or they pull those 5-pound, those 6-pounders out, and they go home and tell those fishing stories, that you want to share. One of the good things we saw during COVID is our state park system did a really good job, as Joel was alluding to, of saying, okay, look, even though you may be locked in, you can still space out. One of the good things about our communities throughout Alabama is fishing didn't stop during COVID. You can still get on a boat and go anywhere you wanted to and fish. And so we've kind of seen that it's almost not a secret anymore because everybody knows Guntersville, everybody knows Pickwick, everybody knows Wheeler. And you talk about those lakes when every big tournament wants to come there because they know the weight is going to be so great at the end of the day. It's not just a we're only going to have 10 pounds. Or
Right.
you're pulling 20, 30, 40-pound bags. It's a pretty good tournament at the end of the day. And then you tie into our hospitality and our tourism aspect.
Yeah.
The food, the people. I mean, you come down. We had somebody that stopped in our booth earlier, and they were just like, we just want to come and stay. Well, hey, we'll take that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We like the visitor standpoint to come and leave and, go back home, but we'll let you stay for a little while. So,
Talk about Lake Guntersville State Park, the park itself, because that's quite a facility, isn't it?
Yeah, so they have expanded over the last couple of years, added a lot more cabins. They've got the lodge now that's kind of been refurbished with a lot of hotel rooms, a lot of different cabins. But it's spaced out now. Unfortunately, a couple of years ago, they suffered some damage with some tornadoes that went through there.
Right.
But you can get everything. They've got a beach area. The launch. The cool thing that we're seeing now on Guntersville is the transition to more of your weekend families coming in. They've got a few more boats that are kind of like those tour boats with the double deckers. You can get on and ride around on the river and go eat and stuff like that. So you can start at the state park and go into downtown Guntersville and come back and not even have to get in your car.
And I think that's the other piece too, is what Guntersville's done with the landing area, having the restaurants and bars right there. You can pull up your boat, park, get off, and go right into the Mexican restaurant that overlooks the lake. It's really, really a cool setup they've got now.
And if you haven't been there, it's quite a change. It's a big change that is there.
I've got a buddy that manages a grocery chain, and you can pull right up there, and it's one of the biggest grocery chains in Alabama now, especially during the summertime. So you got everything.
So there's other things you can do. I know in Huntsville there happens to be something maybe to do with space or something like that.
Something like that. So Huntsville is best known as the Rocket City,
there you go.
Home of the Space and Rocket Center. So we've got the U.S. Space and Rocket Center Museum. It's the largest. It's a Smithsonian museum, so everything that's happened in the space program, there is some historical artifact there. And one of the coolest things is the Davidson Center, which has the Saturn V rocket. You can go do.
Really?
You can have dinner under the Saturn V rocket, and it takes up the entire length of the building. It's a really cool space to do an event, but it's also fun to see the history and all the stuff that's happened in the space program.
Right.
And 90% of that starts in Huntsville and then goes out to Houston, Cape Canaveral, and everything.
I gotcha. I also know if you're a bird watcher, you better go to Decatur. Isn't that right? There's a refuge
the wildlife
there.
refuge. Yeah,
exactly.
You get out there, you can hike, you can bike. I mean, you can do a lot of different things. We've got the bird season where a lot of visitors come in and experience that. We've also got our hot air balloon festival that attracts quite a few people into Decatur too.
I'm sad because the one time I think I was supposed to shoot some photos of that, I wasn't scheduled to come in that week, so I missed the hot air balloon thing. But
we'll get you back at some point. Yeah,
phenomenal the things that are happening. So there's just other things. Let's talk about food. Let's talk about eating. I'm hungry. It's almost lunchtime. What kind of give us a general area of what they might find, and maybe for anglers, maybe more anglers specific, and if you have a sushi place, because I don't know any angler that doesn't like sushi.
So we'd be remiss if we don't start with the home of Alabama white sauce.
Okay.
Big Bob Gibson's Barbecue.
Yeah.
Been there. You're going to find a lot of different barbecue places. Yeah.
You're gonna find a ton of barbecue places.
There's a barbecue trail, is there not?
There is a barbecue trail, but nobody has the inventor of Alabama white sauce.
Okay.
Other than Big Bob Gibson's Barbecue, located in Decatur.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have a bad addiction to it.
I'm with them in that, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's highly addictive, and they do when you walk in, and walk into the restaurant. And there's 50 trophies scattered from Memphis in May that they've won for everything. You name an animal that they can cook, by God, they've made it in barbecue, and they've won a national championship in doing it.
Right.
That's right off the bat. From a barbecue standpoint,
okay,
it's one of the places in the country to go eat barbecue.
All right.
Seafood places are a little different.
It's a little different. You got to get more to the southern part of the state to get
Southern
that.
part.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of chains that have opened up locations that bring that seafood up, but getting the fresh of the fresh, you got to go a little south. I think the unique thing that we've seen, and I know in Huntsville and North Alabama, you've got a lot of different types of cuisine now.
Right.
From your barbecue, which is world famous from what we do, and then your style based upon your slaw, your potato salad. Everybody's got their different styles they like in that. But then you go out to find unique Mexican restaurant or a fine dining establishment. I mean, you can go from one end of the spectrum if you're looking for barbecue,
right,
or finding that really good steak. Because we've got a couple of really good steak places as well too. So we know those anglers are hungry when they come off the lake. So I don't know about those sushi places much.
Oh, all right.
I wouldn't be there per se for me or
Well, I
whatever.
wouldn't either, but
it's okay.
I think you found the two
Hey.
guys that might be the most anti-sushi. If I'm going to eat fish, I'm probably going to need it cooked.
Well, see, I'm with you. I'm like, but all my fishing buddies are like, let's go eat sushi. I'm like, you could have just ate what we caught today. I mean, seriously? But that's where they want to go. So I wanted to make sure if you had one you wanted to give a shout out to. We make sure we get
We've
that.
got some
You're
chains,
covered,
but-
Jimmy Reese. You're covered.
We've got some chains, but nothing that stands out. But
Yeah.
don't ask us to. Just pass on it.
Any restaurants right on the water? Like right on the water? Is there some?
Not in Decatur yet. That's kind of
Not
in our
yet. It's
future
coming?
plans.
Oh,
We're
really?
trying to work through that. I know Gunnersville has several places.
Right.
Top of the river
Okay.
comes to mind,
Yeah.
being right there if you're looking for catfish and those
Yeah.
type things to eat. So I think what you're seeing is development on our waterways is
Yes.
kind of the next big thing. You've seen a development in our downtown areas and our outer lining areas, and now with Huntsville at ditto, like Joel was talking about, in Decatur, where most of our river access is businesses, corporations.
Right.
You're seeing a push now to try and find homes or restaurants of that type to be able right there, be on the river, so you never have to leave. And I think that's on the horizon.
And
Yeah,
you have a park right by the bridge. What's the name of that park? I can't remember. It's in Decatur.
You talking about Ingalls Harbor?
Oh, there's Ingalls Harbor, but there's another one just kind of.
We've got
one
Hard
that-
Docks. We do have a restaurant right there off
Oh.
the river.
Right,
which-
but I mean, there's a park. There's also a park that's right there, kind of by the bridge, just in that general
the way
area.
that Wheeler runs around, I mean, if you're talking
Yeah.
about a park, probably right in there. But
Oh, right in there. All right.
Yeah, there's a place where like I know they've done like some music in the park stuff.
Yeah, music in the park.
It's by the amphitheater.
down there at Rhodes Ferry Park
Yes.
and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's other places like that you might check out too. That takes us to Tackle Time. Tackle Time sponsored by PICO Lures. PICO Lures has a complete line of hard and soft baits, so you can check them out there. Everything you can catch in Alabama, you can catch on a PICO lure. That's what I can tell you right now, because they catch everything. Crappie, bass, you name it, catfish. You can catch it on it. So make sure you check them out at PICOLures.com. If they want to find out more,
Go to huntsville.org.
Okay.
Go to our website.
all right. Yeah.
Huntsville.org, DecaturCVB.org. You can also go to our state page with the Alabama Tourism Department as well, too.
Okay, sounds great. Well, like I always like to end the show, make sure you keep your hook sharp and your lures in the water. That's it.